Welcome to Office Hours. I'm Eric Turnison, founder of MemberMouse. So what we do here is pretty straightforward. There's a Q&A button in the middle here. You can click to ask any questions you have, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. So we'll get started here. The first question is from Renee, and her question is, are we able to change the time zone for the drip release of products? We are running into an issue of it not matching with our expressed day/time. Any help or recommendations would be greatly appreciated. So there's not really a straightforward answer here. The thing is, the time zone that's used to have the drip content be released is based on the time zone you set in WordPress. However, with that said, there is a cron system built into WordPress. Now, the cron is not super predictable. It's like a pseudo cron. So generally speaking, what a cron job is on a server is you can set a periodic interval where something will execute. So for example, you could say, run this script every hour, run this script every 2 hours. Now, WordPress has a pseudo cron that we use to execute recurring checks, of which drip content is based on, right? Because the check needs to run every so often to check if there's any drip content that needs to be released. So this, I believe, we have set to happen every 2 hours, but the cron is triggered by activity on the site. So this, what's the word? The accuracy of the cron running every 2 hours depends on how active your site is. Are people on the site? Are pages being requested? If there's no activity going on your site, then there's nothing that's going to be going on to trigger the cron to run. So as a result of that, this could be what's making the drip content get released later than you anticipate. So unfortunately, there's nothing really much to do about this except to increase the activity on the site and make sure that there are things going on the site, because the limitation is here that we're utilizing the WordPress cron, and this is how it runs, and we don't really have any control over that. So it's, in essence, it's not a time zone issue. It's more of like an activity on a site issue. Okay, so that's number one. This next question is from Ryan. Is there a way to associate a product with both a membership level and a bundle? We are trying to sell a special type of membership access that includes access to one of our standard membership levels in addition to a bundle that is normally its own paid product. No, it's not possible to associate a product with both a membership level and a bundle. Reason being is, okay, assume that you could do this and you have a product associated with both of those things. When the product is purchased, how do you know which thing the person should get access to? Right? There's no way to know because it's associated with both. So if you want somebody to get access to the content that's associated with both the membership, that's associated with both the membership and the bundle, then you just configure the membership level or the bundle to have access to all of the content that both of those things have. Basically, the product to membership relationship needs to be one-to-one so that it's very clear to the software when a product is purchased what should happen. If it's associated with more than one thing, then there's a conflict there and it doesn't know which one you should get access to. So basically, you just want to create two products and have these people purchase either product for the appropriate thing. And if you need, like, if it's an issue of like, oh, I don't want to have to create all my content or copy over all the access for the membership level or the content, there's an easy way to do that. Basically, you just go to your product settings, drip content schedule, and you can easily copy the access rights of any membership level to any bundle. Just like this, you just click copy schedule, or vice versa. You can have the content that's protected by this bundle copied to any membership level. So that's an easy, quick way you can get a membership level and a bundle to both be protecting the same things. And therefore, now when somebody purchases one of the two products you have associated with the membership level and the bundle, they'll get access to the appropriate things. It wasn't entirely clear which direction you were asking about, so hopefully I answered your question appropriately. If not, feel free to send any follow-up questions on that to the support team in terms of how you can set things up for yourself. But basically the short answer is no, you can't associate a product with a membership level and a bundle. All right, the next question is from Tom, and so there's two questions here actually. Okay, so I still need to update to the new 2.3.2 version of the plugin. I'm always nervous about doing updates. Have there been any known issues in updating? Not to my knowledge, and nowadays updating is very reliable for people. So, and I understand it is always nerve-wracking to make any changes to a site that's performing well, right? Because there is always a small chance that something could happen. But it is a good practice to do these updates. Our development team has done a great job at making these as easy as possible to do. Basically, just go to your plugins page in WordPress, click update, it does it automatically, and everything's good to go. It's been out for a couple weeks now, and no, there haven't been any issues reported with the release, but it's definitely a good best practice to do the updates because in addition to any new features that we have in the updates, there's always a bunch of bug fixes. There's usually stuff related to security. So it is always a good idea to keep up to date with the latest version. And then your second question here, when I reach my 1,000 member limit, will you automatically update my payment, subscription, and billing? We basically have a process, an internal process, whereby we will give you a huge amount of lead time. Well, huge, maybe exaggerating, but I think it's something like when you reach a certain member limit, say 75% of whatever your plan is, we will send you an email and inform you that this limit is approaching. And I think, Cindy, correct me if I'm wrong, but we'll do this like 2 or 3 times, basically, and let you know, hey, your limit's approaching, go ahead and update your account. Here are the instructions on how to do it, et cetera, et cetera. And then so 2 times, we'll let you know at 80% and at when you've reached the member limit. And then 2 weeks after you've reached the member limit, we'll let you know, hey, you're actually over the limit and you need to upgrade. And then basically, Cindy, is at that point, I think we automatically upgrade your plan. If the 3 times that we've let you know that you haven't done it, then we will automatically upgrade it, for you after that. But we give you three notifications to do it yourself. And we even let you pass the member limit, and we even let you be past the member limit for 2 weeks before we do any sort of auto upgrading. So it's very lenient, but we do appreciate, obviously, if people do it on time. All right. Right, and you can also see the notification about you've reached your member limit within the dashboard. When you're logged into WordPress in the back end, you'll see a notification that says you're over your member limit. So it's not going to be a surprise, essentially, for you. Okay. This next question is from Dirk, and he's asking, from what I understand, MemberMouse doesn't support payment providers via Stripe when a payment provider doesn't support recurring payments. I'm going to have to read that again. MemberMouse doesn't support payment providers via Stripe. What do you mean by that, payment providers via Stripe? You mean people who integrate with Stripe? Because yeah, we don't support anybody third-party integrating with Stripe because we integrate directly with Stripe. And maybe misunderstanding your question there. Credit card via Stripe. I mean, we definitely support payment with credit card via Stripe. That's essentially the primary thing that our integration with Stripe is doing. Again, maybe I'm not understanding your question correctly. Are there any plans for supporting individual instead of recurring payments via Stripe? This would be extremely valuable for us since Ideal is the most used online payment provider here in Netherlands, but recurring payments via Ideal are not supported by Stripe at the moment. So I think what you're asking is, do we plan on integrating with Ideal? Is that correct? Because we integrate with Stripe. Okay, yeah, that's what you're asking. We integrate with Stripe. You can do everything through Stripe, one-time payments, recurring payments, etc. Okay, so no, we don't have any plans to integrate with Ideal. However, we do have plans to extend our developer toolset and APIs such that someone could do an integration like that. We're not going to do it, but we are planning on empowering people to do integrations themselves with other payment providers. Ben, you know, since you're on right now, thanks for joining. Ben's our CTO. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the plan, right? That we, with the developer API, it should be possible for people to build their own integrations with any payment platform that they're looking to do. And then of course, the people who do that, our hope is that if people do that, then they would be willing, we'll create a space where they would be willing to share that with other MemberMouse customers so that everybody can have the benefit of that integration. But yeah, unfortunately, we don't have any short-term plans to do that type of integration. The time frame for the API, no, I don't have any specifics that I can give on that, except that we do plan on having a beta out this year. So that's a very broad estimate, but I can't say anything more specific than that at this time. But it is, I will also say that it's one of our top priorities. So we are going to be putting a lot of resources towards that to ensure that it gets out as quickly as possible. But I don't have a specific time frame of when we're going to be getting it out. Yes, it's a start, yes. Okay, so again, next question. I wonder if you can lend advice on finding a quality assistant. I'm getting close to needing to replace myself, as you put it in your article, Eric. Cindy is a treasure. I just wonder how you found her and if you have any advice in finding someone who can start out occasionally part-time. This is a tricky question. And actually, I just recorded a podcast. I believe it was with Jack Bourne. Jack Bourne is the founder of Deadline Funnels. And I asked him this question. I asked him, how do you hire people? How do you find people? I might have also asked this question of Seth Rosen in our episode that I did with him on the podcast. If not in the episode, I did it offline with him. But anyway, what I'm getting at is I pretty much asked the same question of everybody I talk to as well, because I'm certainly haven't had 100% guaranteed success with this. Personally, what's worked for me is finding people who I know. I found that the hardest thing to find in a person who's going to work for you are the things that they're not going to put on a resume. It's not the skill set. You know, it's definitely good that somebody has the skill set that you're looking for, but what's more important of whether or not they're going to be successful, in my opinion, is the soft skills, right? Are they enthusiastic about what you're doing? Do you get along with them? Are they reliable? Things like this. And it's kind of like dating in a way, you know. Everybody's going to put on a certain role, of a certain picture for you in the first week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks of a relationship, business, romantic, otherwise. It's the honeymoon phase. And so it's not really until after that time, 6 weeks or so, that, you know, people start to settle in and kind of be at their default, which may be very different in contrast to how they were being the first 6 weeks. So there's been a lot of heartache in terms of hiring people. You know, you hire somebody, it seems like they're working out, and then they don't. You have to start over and get from scratch. So personally, I found that if I know somebody, then I know all those things that you can't possibly know until you've had a period of time. And those things are, to me, a higher priority than actually what skills. It depends on the role. But for an assistant, you know, pretty much they just need to be organized. They need to be reliable and stuff like this. And a lot of that, like, I found that people you know may be looking for work. I've hired, I don't know, something like 30% of the people, 30 to 40% of the people I've hired are people that I've known before, including Cindy, including Matt, who's on our marketing team. We had a guy on our support team who was with us for a few years. I knew him prior. Someone who helped us out with hiring process, I knew him before I hired him on the team to work with us. And I've had great success with all of these people. And so, you know, there is no straight answer. But what I would say is, don't let the uncertainty about the process keep you from doing it. It has to be done. And the fact is, it is an uncertain process, and it is a risk, because you could hire somebody, you could end up paying them for a period of time, and then they don't work out and you've got to start over. It takes your time to find them. It takes your time to train them. And it's very disheartening when it doesn't work out, but it's just part of the process. So it's something that you have to start doing and experimenting with to learn for yourself personally how you can be more efficient at it in the future. So, again, I don't feel that I'm super qualified to answer this question because, again, I still have my own challenges with it, but that's, my 2 cents for what it's worth. And yeah, check out the Jack Bourne podcast when it's released, and he's got an answer for that too. Okay, so this last question is from Cindy, and she's asking, what is your favorite feature of MemberMouse? My favorite features in MemberMouse have always been the ones that help to automate things. It's usually the things that people don't see or don't even know of what the value of them is. For example, the automated overdue payment processing, because the reason I love this so much is because I've always been a kind of a process person, process efficiency. In my career as a software engineer and architect, I was usually passionate about and working on products that help to improve processes and make them more efficient. And so the reason I like all the automation stuff is because that's exactly what it does. And the thing is, a lot of people don't even know about these things that are going on in MemberMouse. Each one of these automation features that got added to the platform came out of an experience, whether that we had directly because we use the software on MemberMouse.com, or one of our larger high volume clients ran into. And the benefit that we really get from working with these high volume clients is we really get a real world stress test of the system, and then we can see where things aren't working. And it's not that they're not working, it's not that something's broken, it's that, hey, the way to have profit is to either increase your revenues or decrease your support costs, right? So a lot of the automation that's built into MemberMouse is geared towards reducing support costs, which ultimately ends in higher profits, right? Because imagine a situation where you have thousands of members and it's just a part of the business where cards get declined on recurring subscriptions. And imagine you had to call somebody to get this taken care of. Well, just referring back to what I was just talking to you about hiring with Tom, well, now you have to hire people whose job it is to do that, which you have to pay. And of course, when you call people, it's like chasing down somebody to pay you money it's not the most fun thing to do because people usually are going to avoid that as much as possible. So having this automated in the system has untold amounts of not only capturing revenue that may not have been captured and reducing time on your books to actually have to manually go through that process and take care of it. Other things like that are activity log, the tracking of that. This can be a useful tool for people to see what somebody was doing on the account. If somebody messages in and they have questions about something, you can easily look back and see what pages they've accessed, when they logged in, when they were billed, when emails were sent out to them, records of those emails. This can be helpful in chargeback scenarios. If somebody charges back and they claim that they never used your software, you can easily build a report. And customers of ours, large, high volume customers of ours, specifically like this feature, because chargebacks, again, it's one of those things in business that it ticks up when you have more customers, and therefore you end up having to have a strategy in how you're going to handle this and recapture some of those chargebacks. So that's a great feature as well. And I think just the engine, the performance, a lot has been done that people will never see. I mean, one of the things that MemberMouse is known for is reliability. and reliability under stress, meaning high volume, large number of members. And so this is I guess it's kind of coming to a higher level picture. The thing I really like about MemberMouse is the fact that you can start using it for just 20 members, but it will grow with you, and you don't have to switch to a different solution to get to 100,000 active members. And at each stage of your business where you're going to need more, you're not even going to know that you're going to need that before you get to the point. But as soon as you know you do need it, MemberMouse has an answer for you built in. So this is really the power and the value of MemberMouse. So it's all of these different features. Smart tags, again, great feature, because it allows you to have dynamic conversations with your customers based on actions that they've taken without having to program anything. So that becomes very powerful. Anyway, I think I could go on because there are other things that I like, but I think that's enough for now. Let me just make sure I didn't turn my mic off. Okay. Okay, cool. Well, and Tom says, you've got a great team. Matt has been very helpful too. Well, thank you, Tom. I think so too. I think our team's great, and I'm very grateful for everybody who's a part of it. And so I think that's it. I think if there are no more questions, then we will sign off. Yes, no questions? Cool. Well, thank you all for joining, and I hope you have a good weekend, and you will receive a notification from us the next time we've got office hours going on. All right. Thanks a lot.